What's up everyone? This manga was created by aashananimeart. Go show him your support and keep updated with the story by following him on Twitter. Also do me a favor and blast that like button out of existence to please the YouTube gods.
Jorge Yelpy!
After sneaking past all the guards, Kane questions if Frieza has any last words. Without turning to face him, the tyrant confidently quips he not be in such a rush. But the assassin shouts he doesn't intend to drag this out longer than necessary. After getting a look at the man's face, Frieza instantly knows where he recognizes him from, clearly resembling that hit fellow of Universe 6, who is shocked to discover his target knows his father. And while he is completely unaware the two shared that close of a relationship, Frieza finds it amusing the warrior had a son at all. Though it begs the question, if such a matter is truly the case, why didn't he also fight in the Tournament of Power? Promptly responding, Kane barks that's none of his concern, again repeating he hasn't come here to talk, urging they put an end to this already. The Emperor retains his dismissive nature towards the situation, if not finding it slightly annoying the intruder seems to be in such a hurry. However, if they are to do battle, he'd like to take this outside of his precious ship. It'd be a shame to scuff it up. And if that gets things going, he has no desire to waste any more time. Kane informs he is aware Frieza has been trained to become a god of destruction, so he won't be holding back. The admission changes the villain's tone, perhaps wondering how he could have obtained this information. When the assassin bellows for him to behold his full power, the force of which puts the Overlord on high alert, having somewhat recently gained the ability to sense ki. Growing sure of himself, Kane scoffs he seems awfully scared to be a candidate of godhood. But the Frost Demon brushes this to the side, offering to showcase what true power really is. Changing over to his golden form, he states the assassin is the one who needs to behold. While impressed, Frieza managed to get this powerful in only 6 months of training with the gods, as it took him nearly 300 years to get where he is today. He still likes his chances in this battle. Continuing his smug ways, the Emperor quips in here he thought he hadn't come for idle chatter. So in that case, he too is ready to begin. Meanwhile, on Beerus' world, we catch the boys mid-spar. But the Elder sense exactly what's going on in the void of space, causing them to wonder why Frieza's power spikes so suddenly. The Prince points out his ki actually feels a bit different than usual, when Goku mentions the presence of a second, albeit similar ki. But his rival suggests they won't bother with this themselves at the moment. But needless to say, they will continue to monitor the situation from afar. Back with the pair, Frieza gains an idea. Given this man's power, he feels it would be best to fight somewhere not unbound by zero gravity. Asking what he's referring to, he informs there's a planet nearby that only takes about a minute to get to. Instead of battling in space, he would like to go there. It's a remote world with no life on it, but more importantly, they will be able to utilize the ground below. And if that's where his target wishes to die, Kane sees no problem with this proposal. But the villain thinks to himself if things don't go his way, he will simply destroy the planet. Does this mean Frieza plans to strand his adversary in space, believing he can only go so long without air? Or is another idea rattling around in his mind? Landing, whatever his strategy is, the tyrant seems satisfied with it. Though before he has the pleasure of killing his prey, he would like to at least know his name. But Kane is done talking, ready to begin for real this time. Countering his time skip ability, Kane is surprised to see his foe adapted so quickly. And while bloodied, Frieza informs before the Tournament of Power ever took place, the members of his universe brought to his attention how to approach such a technique, just if he himself happened to cross paths with it. Nonetheless, countering a mere copy of the move isn't much of a challenge. Obviously a mainstay in Kane's arsenal, the assassin quickly comes to terms it may not prove infinitely useful after all. That simply means he'll have to take out his target the old-fashioned way, stating Frieza is the only warrior he has ever encountered to figure out the time skip so fast, with the exception of Saira, destroyer of Universe 14 of course. Growing desperate, Frieza unveils a Hakai. Kane familiar with the attack, but never believed he'd encounter it against a mortal. Somehow he manages to deflect it, shocking even the likes of the Emperor. The battle coming to a standstill. Both fighters take their time in their retaliation. Frieza tries his best to regain his bearings, deducing if he managed to deflect the Hakai, he too must have trained with either a destroyer or angel, knowing full well how rare that technique is. Although he can defend against it, it doesn't appear he can use it himself, as that was a regular ki blast he just fired. Below, Kane also knows this isn't good, as it seems the pair are equally matched when it comes to their power. Admitting to himself this is going to be a toss-up who wins this bout. Again, he is forced to wonder how this could be, knowing Frieza has only 6 months of training with the gods under his belt. With no choice, he reluctantly decides he's going to have to rely on that ace he's been hiding up his sleeve, as that will be the only way to assure victory. Calling out to him, he asks Frieza what's with that stunned look on his face, who more or less answers honestly, admitting he is shocked at his familiarity with the Hakai, believing he may have underestimated him. Though Kane finds it ironic, supposing they're even now after his little time skip surprise. Curious, the Emperor questions if he too is a candidate to become God of Destruction, though the assassin assures that's not his goal, if only because he has no desire for such a title. Whether he believes it or not, Frieza is merely elated to have stumbled across such a formidable warrior. Now he can test the full results of his training. Whatever the assassin's trump card is, all he needs is for Frieza to stay where he is for just a little while. Simultaneously, the tyrant foolishly didn't plan for his foe to use the time skip again, attacking from all around. The blasts are only a diversion while he traces each side of the cube 8 times. Merely able to block the onslaught, Frieza knows he won't be allowed to move from this current location without taking a few hits head-on, and these aren't exactly light attacks. With the others, Goku continues on some of his own training, but Vegeta is beginning to grow concerned with the Frieza situation, suggesting they go have a look at things. Arguing, Goku reminds it was his idea in the first place to leave him be. He admits his curiosity about the second fighter has gotten the better of him. Since they appear to be just as strong as Frieza, they could become a threat. It would be smart to find out now before something big happens. Rising to his feet, he asks Piccolo if he'd like to tag along, but the Namekian decides to pass for now, believing he'd only be a liability. While disappointed, Goku fully understands his reasoning. When the boys chirp in, Goten and Trunks wanting to check out that Frieza guy too, though Vegeta knows how bad of an idea that is, restating there's a battle taking place against someone just as strong as him. Besides, they themselves haven't covered even the basics of their training here, so that will be the focus for the time being. Deflating the children's optimism, Whis assures when they are strong enough, their parents will likely take them along on such an adventure. Speaking of which, before they go, he wants to let them know Frieza has been training with the Destroyer of Universe 3 for about half a year now, so it would be wise to take that into consideration when approaching him. This news horrifying the gang. Vegeta growls to know how he managed to get in the good graces of the gods of Universe 3, and how he even managed to physically get there. Nonchalantly, the angel details how he first approached him to be trained as the next god of destruction of this universe, though Beerus refused to aid him and forbade Whis to train him. Frieza then inquired if he could request of the other gods to see if one of them were willing to take him in. It was Mule of Universe 3 who agreed. As if it isn't obvious, Vegeta shouts the absurdity of the situation, asking what Frieza's motivation in becoming a destroyer could be. While Whis didn't bother inquiring of his motives, the angel notes it did seem quite odd for someone like him to be interested in the position, as it does come with very strict requirements he may not be aware of. But in a way, Goku thinks he's actually kind of perfect for the role. As this may be true of certain aspects, he is nonetheless wickedly evil and kills for fun. His nature hasn't changed. However, when one becomes a god of destruction, such acts are completely forbidden. While exceptions can be made in particular scenarios, sadistic behavior is not tolerated. It's no secret Beerus has ended many worlds and countless mortals. His underlying reasoning was to increase the mortal level in his universe, the ranking system that decided which realms would battle in the Tournament of Power. If it's for the better of the benevolent, it is generally allowed. Another exception, for example, would be if one were to threaten his position. Other than the aforementioned, if Zeno or the Grand Priest were to discover a destroyer had turned evil, they would be given a fate worse than death or destruction, being sent to the prison of the gods, where they would undergo torture by a godly fire that burns but doesn't kill for all of eternity. The same punishment is given to gods of destruction and Kaioshin alike who are removed from their position, possibly foreshadowing the fate of Mule for taking on such an apprentice. This revelation clearly jars Goku, not previously under the impression deities carried out such practices. Regardless, two things are evident to Vegeta. Frieza is not a good fit to become a god of destruction, and someone like him can never be allowed that kind of position. Not to mention, he would never be able to control himself to keep balance in the universe. This can only mean he is plotting something further than the title itself, likely against all of them directly since he holds the biggest grudge towards himself and Goku. Piccolo in agreement with this theory. The only way Frieza would do something like this if it were to benefit himself in some way. With this background information established, the Saiyans resolve to head out. One way or another, they will uncover exactly what the Tyrant is planning, whether it's merely petty revenge or something on a much more grand scale. Teleporting his way, they instantly appear on the same planet, catching the attention of those already there. Frieza aghast what they could be doing here, but then thinks of a way he can use this to his advantage. And even luckier, their arrival interrupted Kane's technique, stopping it dead in its tracks. He questions the duo if they are allies of Frieza, who himself merely chuckles at the thought, shouting never in all eternity. But how will their arrival impact the outcome of this battle? And how exactly will Frieza use the situation to his advantage?